Hey guys, Jerome here. What's going on? Today I am going to do a 1 week review on the 2015 Moto X Pure Edition. And then this is where I would have like awesome intro music play, but I don't have any of that, so sorry. Also, I wanted to apologize, guys, because I know that I was going to make a video yesterday. I had plans last night and I just didn't have time to get a video put together, so sorry about that. Hopefully this makes up for it. So, with the Moto X, I wanted to just kind of give like my thoughts on using it. This is my everyday phone. I'm a very heavy user, so I have a lot to say about the phone. I'm gonna try to like condense it. I actually wrote notes this time, so I don't like kind of go from one place to the other. So hopefully this kind of gives a better flow to my videos. Okay, so I want to talk about the specs of the phone first. The phone has a 5.7-inch display. The resolution on it is 1440 by 2560. See, notes. 1440 by 2560 display, so 1440p display. It's a great looking display. I mean, think about your TVs that are at 1080p. This is at 1440p. It pushes 520 pixels per inch, so it's a great looking display. As far as the internal goes, as far as the internals go, it has an 808 Snapdragon processor with 3 gigs of RAM, and then as far as internal storage, it starts at 16 gigs, but then you can get 32 gigs if you want, or 64 gigs, you know, at an extra price. So on the top of the phone here is the SIM tray. It's for the nano SIM, and if you pull the SIM tray out, one side will be for the nano SIM, the other side will be for that expandable storage for SD card. And that SD card on there, you can put up to 128 gigs of expandable storage. So that's a lot of storage on the phone, if that's what you're looking for. So it's a nice feature that Motorola decided to put in this generation Moto X. Okay, so on the front too, you have two front-facing speakers, and they're actually stereo speakers, which is great. It's good for watching Netflix or movies or whatever, and I mean, the screen is fairly big, so it's a good experience. The front also has a 5 megapixel camera with a flash. The 5 megapixel camera comes with a wide angle lens, so you know, if you're taking a selfie or whatever, it can accommodate more people behind you, or you know, show a better background of whatever is there behind you. The back has a 21 megapixel camera with flash. Also on the top is a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and at the bottom is a micro USB connector or charger. The charger also provides turbo charging or quick charging, and you know, the website states that you can charge it for 15 minutes and get up to 10 hours of use. I haven't really, you know, plugged it in for 15 minutes from 0% and unplugged it. I normally charge it all the way up, so I haven't really tested it out, but the phone charges fast, and I'll get into that a little later as far as battery goes. Let me see, what else? Oh, so the front also has IR sensors on there, and these IR sensors are on here because Motorola has a feature called notification at a glance, and I've mentioned this in a previous video for my favorite features, and how it works, just really quick, is because there are IR sensors up on the front, it detects motion. So the best way to put it is, if my phone's just sitting down and I want to check the time, or I want to check if I got a notification, instead of actually having to physically pick up my phone and unlocking it or whatever just to check, I can just kind of wave my hand over it and it'll just pop out the time, and it'll pop up any notifications that I have. And it's a great feature. You know, I know I say, well, you don't have to pick up your phone or whatever, and it's not that I'm lazy, it's just if I'm on the couch or something and I just want to check, I just wave my hand over it. It's not a big deal. It's a really nice feature, you know, that Motorola has put into their phones. I like it a lot. I use it all the time. So let me see. Higher sensors, flash, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the phone is customizable on Motorola's website. This is where I got my phone from. the customization doesn't cost any extra. Well, it costs a little extra if you're changing some features, but for the most part, it doesn't cost anything to customize it. I mean, $399 is the starting price, and you can customize it at $399. So the phone is $399 starting, unlocked, and with $399 you get 16 gigs of internal storage. For $449 you get 32 gigs of internal storage, and for $499 you get 64 gigs of internal storage, and that's what I have. I'm using the 64 gig version here, and because it's unlocked, that means you can use it on any carrier. And actually, that's one of the phones that, you know, not many phones have that kind of, not feature, but they don't have those hardware capabilities. So this phone can work on any carrier, for AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, or any of the smaller carriers like Cricket Wireless, Virgin Mobile, that kind of stuff. So that's a great thing to have. A lot of phones you just can't put a SIM card in and you're good to go. But for $399 starting, that's a great deal for an unlocked phone with the specs that's packed into here. So as far as customization goes, the front you can change to a white or black front, and then on the back it can have 18 different colors. I think it's 18 is what the site said. I might be wrong on that. But for an extra $25, you can get a wood back, or you can get a leather back. And there are different kinds of woods, and there are different kinds of leathers too. So there's a lot of customization in there. This trim here, and like on the side here where the lock, unlock, and volume rockers are, you can change this color too. So you can have like 3 different colors if you really wanted to, for the front, for the back, and for the trim on the side. So it's a really nice thing to actually be able to customize your phone. I always like going on sites and seeing what other people picked as colors, because it's just nice to see how the combinations go. Okay, so I think I mentioned all that stuff. All right. So to get down to the main things on here, the display, I really like the display. The display looks great on it. It's clear, it's bright. You know, I haven't really like sat out in the sun and looked at it, but outside I haven't had any issues. What I like about the display too is there is a setting in here that Motorola put in this time called color mode, and it has 2 options. And there's an option for like an enhanced mode where they saturate the colors, which means like they have like redder reds and like other colors like they pop out. And then there's another mode that's just normal mode, where it's it's more realistic colors, and that's what I like. I actually was really happy that they put that on there, because I don't like phones that kind of oversaturate the colors or anything, because like when I take a picture, I want the colors to look like what I took the picture of. I don't need it to look even brighter or whatever. And I mean, like, if that's what you like, they have that on here, so it's great. But for me, I kind of want a more realistic picture of what I'm looking at. That's my preference on there, but I'm really happy that Motorola put that option on here for people who want to do one or the other. So I thought that was great. Performance wise, okay, so I have one small gripe, we can call it a big gripe even, about performance. So I use this phone, like I said, to make calls, send texts, email, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, you know, Facebook, I said that, YouTube, Netflix, everything. I use this phone for everything. I use it to pay my bills. I use it to do GPS. Everywhere I go, I have this phone with me. And as far as like surfing the net, if I have Chrome open, I have like 15 to 25 pages open sometimes, or windows open. And I have all those other apps open, and I'm going back and forth through them, and I'm good. They work really well. I haven't had any kind of lag issues or stuttering issues with that kind of stuff. But the one thing I'm having an issue with is Hangouts. And I don't know, I'm guessing that this Hangouts issue is a software thing and not a hardware thing, because I am like lagging every time I use Hangouts, and it's becoming frustrating. I mean, to the point where I have switched, like my friends and I, we use like a group chat, and we were using Hangouts, and we've been using it for a long time, and I've never really had any kind of like laggy issues. But we ended up switching to WhatsApp because it was just getting crazy. So I don't know, Google, like what's going on with the Hangouts, but you need to fix that lag issue. So, but I don't know if that's a limitation on the phone. I really don't think so. I think it's more of a software thing on Google's end. You know, I was using SwiftKey for my keyboard, and I switched back to the stock keyboard thinking that would help, and it helped maybe a little bit, but it didn't change anything. And now I use WhatsApp, and I'm using SwiftKey again, and I have no issues there. So as far as performance goes, I'm really happy with it. The phone is very responsive. You know, I've seen other reviews or professional reviews where they say that there's some lag, and I guess it's when you're scrolling up and down on Chrome or whatever, but I'm not super fast scrolling through stuff, and I mean, even if I was, I don't think I noticed any of that kind of lag. This is me giving a review on my everyday use, so you take it for, you know, what I give you. Everybody is a different user. If you're maxing your phone out, like I guess scrolling crazy all day, then hey, maybe this isn't the phone for you. But for me, as an everyday phone and as a heavy user, I haven't had issues as far as performance goes. Okay, so with that said, I want to talk about the battery. The battery on this phone is very comparable to my previous phone, which was the Nexus 6. This phone packs like a 3,000 milliamp hour battery on here, and the performance is good. When I say comparable to the Nexus 6, it means that like I can go and see, it depends on how much use I put on it. Because I'm a heavy user, there are some days I'll go like 14 hours maybe before I run out of juice on the phone. But I would say between 14 hours a day and 18 hours a day is how long I can get the phone to last. And so when I say 14 to 18 hours, that also means that I'm putting about 3.5 hours of on-screen time on the phone. So when I say that, I mean like the screen is on for 3.5 hours of me texting or watching a video or whatever. So that's about what I get. You know, there was a day actually where I was at home most of the day, I would say 90% of the day, and I had Wi-Fi on, and I got like 4 hours and 15 minutes of on-screen time. So that might actually depend on your carrier too. Excuse me. So the battery might be dependent on coverage and like how often your phone is like searching for a signal. So you know, the battery might be better even if you're not like outside all day trying to use a carrier. So again, like on Wi-Fi, I got, yeah, I would say around 4 hours and 15 minutes, 4 hours and 20 minutes. But the phone still has a great battery. You know, I'm not going to lie. I would love to have a phone that has an on-screen time of 4.5 to 5 hours. But, I mean, who wouldn't, you know? I would have actually, if it was up to me, I would put a bigger battery on here, and I would, you know, deal with the extra weight because that's not a big deal for me. But, you know, it's different for everyone. So as far as charging goes, because this has quick charge or turbocharge, and I've said this before on a review on an earlier video, when I drain the phone like completely dead, I plug it in, from 0% to 100%, I can get it charged in about 1 hour and 15 minutes to 1 hour and 20 minutes. Compare that to my 2015 Moto G, which has even a smaller battery. I think it's 25, like around 2,500 milliamp hours. That charges from 0 to 100 in under 3 hours. So for this to charge in 1 hour and 15 minutes in more than half the time, it's great. I said also earlier in an earlier video when I charged it, from 0%. In 25 minutes, I got to 60%. So it's a great way, like even if your phone dies, it's a great way to just plug it in for like 20, 30 minutes, and then you're gonna get a lot of battery, you're gonna get a lot of use if you need to go out for a couple hours and you need your phone on you. It's a quick way to charge up. So good battery life. I'm happy with it. I could always use better, but that's me being nitpicky now on that kind of stuff. Okay, so camera. The camera, I also forgot to mention that the camera does also 4K video, and I do want to do a test one day. I might actually take the L here in Chicago and kind of tape a 4K video and like show you guys and see what you guys think of it. But the camera is really good. I'm an everyday user. I use my camera a lot. I'm not a professional photographer, so it's kind of hard for me to tell what's like good or what's not, as long as it's not blurry, as long as like the colors are very similar to what I take pictures of. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting great looking pictures. What's nice about this phone too compared to my Nexus 6 I've noticed is focusing. Focusing seems to come a lot quicker on this phone than on my Nexus. Sometimes on my Nexus when I would try to take a picture, something would show up a little blurry and I would kind of have to move my phone and put it back. And for this one, for the most part, it focuses every single time. And the software is great on it too. It's really like user friendly. So as soon as I open the app, I can just press anywhere on the screen, it'll take a picture. If I hold my finger on the display or to take a picture, it'll just keep snapping pictures like instantaneously. It'll take a bunch. So it's a great feature. I love it. Camera's really good. On the front, it's good too. I don't take like professional pictures using the front, so I take them for selfies and stuff like that, and it works pretty well. Okay, so camera's good, guys. Like I wouldn't worry too much about it unless like you're looking to do like professional picture taking with the phone. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about the camera. Okay, so I had mentioned this also in my other video, but what I like about the Motorola is the Moto X is that it has features in here that a lot of other phones don't. And I mentioned the one earlier, notification at a glance with the IR sensors on the front, where you can kind of wave your phone and it'll show you the time or whatever. So that's one of the features. The other one is hands-free hands-free voice control. So this is where you can have your phone sitting away from you, and then you can give it a catchphrase, any catchphrase that you want, and it will respond to you. And you can like ask it things. You can ask it to open an app, check the time, check the weather, read you your text messages back, that kind of stuff. And then the phone also has like gestures where you can twist the camera to open the camera. I'm not going to do this again, guys, because I've done it too many times, but you can twist the phone to open the camera. You can chop the phone. I'm like hand gesturing it. Chop the phone to turn on the flashlight. I knew I didn't want to do it because I've been doing it too much and I feel weird doing it every time, but to turn on the flashlight on and off. And I really like those features because they come in handy and I use them a lot. Camera I use a lot, flashlight I use a lot, so real handy features with gesturing. Build quality on this phone is great. The phone feels premium to me. Like I guess it doesn't feel as premium as like an iPhone does, but I think it feels great. The back on here is like kind of a soft textured rubberized back, and it feels a lot better in hand. Excuse me, it feels a lot better in hand than my Nexus 6. My Nexus 6 had like a white matte finish, and it was just slippery. Again, and I don't use cases, so that phone, the Nexus 6 was kind of like, and I mean, it was also a big phone, so it was hard for me to just hold as well. But this phone I've been good with, feels good in hand, quality seems really good. Buttons are a lot better than on my Moto G, and when I say the buttons are better, I mean like they're clickier. Like when I press it, it feels like it's pushing down. On my Moto G, it doesn't feel as, like it pushes down, but it doesn't feel as, it's hard to explain. You guys would have to like, you know, see what feel what I'm talking about. That's weird. But build quality is really good on this phone. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was this phone. What I love about this phone too is it's very close to stock Android. And so when I say it's very close to stock Android, I mean that it doesn't have a lot of extra things that a lot of other carriers put, or a lot of other manufacturers put on there, and carriers actually. So what I mean by close to stock Android is the operating system that Google makes Android. When they give you the phone, Google already made their operating system for the phone, and it's how they intended it to be, which is what Nexus phones are. It's the operating system that Google intends it to be. Now, when you with manufacturers like Samsung or LG or Sony, they take that operating system and then they add more stuff to it. They'll add some of their own apps to it. They'll add some of their own features, which is, you know what, I try not to be biased, but I am, because I like the very vanilla Android version of the phone. I don't like when they add their own stuff to it, because it's like, hey, like that's not what this was for. But you know, I say that I really like Motorola's extra features, so I take that back. But what I'm trying to say though is what's nice about having stock Android is it comes very just like, gives you the basics. You can add whatever you want to it. And the nice thing though about vanilla or close to stock Android is the fact that when Google releases new versions of their Android operating system, or new updates to Android, it comes quicker to those that don't have all that extra stuff on there, because then like manufacturers like Samsung, they need to like go through their own skin that's on top of it and then try to integrate all that stuff in there, and it just seems like it's too much, and updates come a lot later than they would on a phone that has vanilla Android. So that's it. Hopefully this review is helpful. You know, these are my opinions. You guys take it for what it's worth. But for me, this is my favorite phone right now. I like everything about it for the most part. You know, the only issue I've been having is that Hangouts thing, but like I said, I don't think that's a hardware issue. This is a very capable phone for $399 starting. It does almost everything you want. Compare that to paying $650 for another phone, or people who pay $200 and then go on a 2-year contract. I don't think it's worth it, guys. For $399, you can't go wrong. Works on any carrier. Does everything that a phone should be doing. So with that said, that's about it. I was trying to think if there's anything else. That's really all I wanted to say on the phone. If there's anything else I wanted to add, I'll add it into my comments and stuff. But if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. You know, like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. If you're into phone stuff, that's what I'm going to keep doing. You know, I'll keep doing other tech stuff too in the future. But for now, that's it, guys. All right, have a good weekend.